Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca. Let's talk about makeup. We are well into December at this point, so I figured I would pop in here and give you just a quick little update on how my November went. I have a few little empties from November, as well as a couple of things that I picked up during the Black Friday sales. We're going to talk about both those things. We're going to go over my empties first, and then we'll talk about the things that entered my collection. As you can see, my filming setup isn't exactly the same as I've had it since the beginning of the year. I actually have rearranged a lot of things in this room, and so the filming setup I was using previously doesn't actually exist anymore. I am not really done figuring things out in this room, so this is not a permanent situation. I'm not exactly sure where things are going to end up, but this will do for now. So let's talk about the empties I was able to accumulate during the month of November. The first one that I have here for you is actually a little bit of a spoiler for my 50 Shades of Brown. This is the Eliza Vecca Milky Piggy Carbonated Bubble Clay Mask. This is what I really kind of wrote off as a very gimmicky kind of, not a joke product, but more entertainment necessarily than skincare. This was a clay mask that you'd put on your face and it would just foam up. And it looked really funny. And I purchased it to use with my little girls. And we had a good time with it, but I actually ended up really enjoying it as a clay mask. I felt like it really did all the things that I would expect from a good clay mask without the downsides. I find clay masks to sometimes be very uncomfortable, a little bit drying, and very difficult to remove. And this was none of those things. I really enjoyed this whole thing. And if I spot this again in store, I will almost certainly pick another one of these up because I really ended up loving it. I also finished up this little tube of my Heroin Make, let's see, Speedy Mascara Remover. So this is just kind of an oil-based mascara remover that comes in a little wand. I found it very useful when I was more regularly wearing my little DIY lash extensions. I haven't for a while now, but it is also really useful for removing mascara, especially waterproof mascara or anything else that's a little bit more difficult to remove with your normal cleansers. So I have gone through this whole tube and I have already reordered another one. Another one from my 50 Shades of Brown. This is my Holika Honey Royal Actin Propolis Ampule. This is something I was trying to get through because while I found it effective, I didn't enjoy using it. And so I just really wanted to get it out of my collection. It is a nice hydrating serum, but the problem is it's just incredibly perfumed. I mean, and perfumed. We're not even talking about a skincare fragrance. It smells like straight up your grandmother's perfume. I mean, it was intense. So while I do feel like it was effective for what it claimed, the experience of using it was not very pleasant, and I'm glad that it is finished and leaving my collection. Now this one I think I had rolled into my Throwback 30. This is my Skin Fix Barrier Plus Triple Lipid Peptide Lotion. This is a very nice moisturizer that I picked up last winter when my skin was having its absolute freak out. I just got so dry, which was a completely new experience for me. And so I picked this up and I really felt like it was very effective. I finally finished it up. I don't think this is necessarily going to be a repurchase simply because I have so many other hydrating products that I think work just as well. But this is my first Skin Fix product and I really did enjoy it. So I may be interested in trying some more of their lineup in the future. Last, I have a lip gloss that I have used up. This is one of my Buxom lip polishes. This is my favorite lip gloss formula of all time. This was in the shade Claire, which was not really my shade. It was a little bit too bubblegummy pink for me. So I actually ended up adding a few other things in here and creating a little bit of a Franken. I really do enjoy this formula. I love the fresh kind of minty tingle. It's not a peppery, like hot tingle at all. It's much more of a cooling sensation, which I definitely prefer and don't find nearly so uncomfortable as kind of the, you just ate a cayenne pepper type of tingle. So really enjoyed this. Glad to have finished it up. Those were my empties for the month of November. Let's take a look at what entered my collection. Now I have 3 items that I did technically purchase during the month of November. However, I mentioned them in my previous Roundup video. So I'm going to show them to you simply because these are technically November purchases, but I did talk about them at more length in my last Roundup video. So first I got a full size of the Kayali Eden Juicy Apple perfume. I really enjoy this perfume. so much. I went through the travel size that I purchased earlier this year in record time and decided to pull the trigger and buy a full-size one. I also picked up this little trial size set of mascaras from Sephora. This is one of those sets where it includes several little mini mascaras, and then it also contains a voucher that you can redeem for a full size of any one of these mascaras once you're done with it. So I have not been wearing a ton of my little DIY eyelashes lately, so I have been reaching for mascara more often. Right now I am working on the Benefit Fan Fest, really liking that one. And yeah, I feel like these types of little sets are such a good value. I also picked up this Sephora powder brush. This is not their Pro collection. It's the step down from the Pro collection. And I bought this just because I was in a pinch. I was in Las Vegas at the time and realized I had not brought a powder brush or a bronzer brush with me. So I just popped into a Sephora there and picked this up. I don't need another powder brush, but fortunately I was able to pick it up during the Sephora sale. So I was able to get this for 30% off, and yeah, it bailed me out of a pinch. So it's fine. It's fine, it's a powder brush. So those are the 3 things I picked up earlier in November that I mentioned in my last Roundup video, but I also have a few things that I picked up during the Black Friday sales. The first one here is, if you've seen my inventory video where I go through my concealers, you'll already have seen this. I broke down. I broke down and I picked up the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. I have this in the shade R5. It's still in the packaging because I'm still working on some other concealers I would like to make more progress on before I open a new one. Now, if you guys recall, about halfway through the year, I really kind of lost steam with my low buy / no buy, and I relaxed a lot of the restrictions that I had on most of my categories. However, I left the low buy, which was a replacement low buy, in place for my concealers. Because I was really hoping, I've been working so hard on trying to finish my Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer this year, and I am so close. Listen, I am so close. But when the Black Friday sale popped up and there was a coupon, I also had a credit, I wasn't able to resist any longer. I have been tempted by this concealer since it was released, and I just could fight it no longer. So this is technically a breaking of my low buy, but I don't know. What do you do? I held off for a surprisingly long time on something that I was really very interested in. So I do want to go ahead and finish that Huda Beauty concealer before I crack into this one. And we're very close, y'all. I don't know if it's going to happen before the end of the year. I only have a few weeks left, but we'll see what happens. At the same time, I picked up another product from Natasha Denona that I have been eyeing since it was released, and that is the little mini rose palette. When I first saw this launch, it took everything in me to not just grab it immediately, because these little pinky rosy neutrals are absolutely just right up my alley. These are all shades that I really enjoy. I have worn this a few times since purchasing it and have really liked the looks I have been able to make with it. So I'm very pleased with that as well. The third thing that I picked up during the Black Friday sale was kind of an oldie but a goodie. I've had this in my collection before and it shattered, so I had to dispose of it, and I have really missed it ever since. I'm talking about the Milani Baked Powder Blush in the shade Luminoso. Do you remember when this was just all anybody on YouTube wanted to wear? Everybody was wearing Milani Luminoso back in the day, and for good reason. It's just a really pretty blush. It's got this beautiful peachy gold shade to it. It is so luminous and pretty. It's not blinding. It's just a really sophisticated formula. If you were to pop this out of this container and just drop it into some high-end packaging and present it to me as a new release by any high-end brand, I would absolutely believe it, because this formulation is just so elegant. And it's one of those blushes that made me realize I liked blush, because there is never a time that I don't put this on my cheeks and think, oh gosh, that's gorgeous. So I really have missed this since I last had it in my collection, and I'm glad to have it back. And that is it. Those are all of my empties and everything that has entered my collection in the month of November. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.